Hello, and welcome to Almost No Talking Lessons, Episode 5. In this lesson, we're going to be going over Zhivago by Kurt Rosenwinkel, which is the first track off of his 2001 release, The Next Step. Before watching any further, please go to the video description and click on the link to download the sheet music for reference purposes. Of course, the most notable thing about this composition is the tuning, which you can see right over here. It's about as unconventional of a tuning as you can get, and it's best achieved by using heavier gauge strings. We're talking like 12s or 13s. You can use lighter strings, of course, but the low E string is going to sound pretty flubby due to the lack of string tension. Now, for this lesson, I'll be using a Boss GP10 for the alternate tuning. Though the guitar models don't really sound as good as the real thing, they do get the job done, though I will say that this particular tuning really pushes the GP10's limits. And because of that, you're probably going to hear some warbles and other audio artifacts as we go through the lesson. And also, in my opinion, this piece does sound a little bit better when played fingerstyle, but for the sake of accuracy, I'll be using a pick. We're going to begin with sections C and D on the transcription, which occurs right after Kurt's solo introduction. Section C is a pretty straightforward descending chord sequence, and section D is a pretty straightforward ascending sequence. Kurt really doesn't play section D the same way each time, so instead of doing a note-for-note transcription, I kind of just included the sort of material that you'll hear him play throughout the piece. Each section will be played twice, once at full tempo and once at a slower tempo. The time signature, by the way, is 3/4. So let's get started. Now on to the main melody, which I've labeled as sections A, A', and B. The tricky part with the melody is that we have three independent parts going on at the same time: the melody, the bass, and the chords. One thing that I find helpful is to remember that the melodic phrases begin on the upbeat of 3, which is followed immediately by a bass note on beat 1, and then a chord on beat 2. You might want to practice at first by just playing the bass note and then the chord to get the chord shapes under your fingers. And speaking of which, you'll notice that the bass note is often being grabbed by the thumb, which is necessary to prevent the A string from being played accidentally. Again, each section will be played once at full tempo and once at a slower tempo. Alright, we've gone over everything. Well, everything except the solo, of course, but frankly, I don't really feel like putting in the time to completely relearn the fretboard using this tuning, so I'll let somebody else figure that one out. Anyway, the transcription provides some additional instructions on the overall form of the song, so be sure to take a look at that. And if you feel so inclined, you can also use the included standard notation to arrange the song in standard tuning, which I might do anyway as a little bonus depending on how much time I have. But in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and if you'd like to see more of this kind of content, feel free to subscribe and click on the bell icon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.